Well, hello, my friends. If you're watching this particular video, it means a couple things. One, it means that you have acquired this ring. I'm going to show you right here. There it is. You can't see it very well. Well, there you go. I should have left it on my hand the entire time. You have acquired this ring right here, signifying that you've done the work to become a certified trainer. Or you are in the final stages of collecting and accepting that ring from stage at one of our live events coming up, which would then put you into the place of being a certified trainer. It also means that being here, you have expressed interest in being part of the Warrior Empire Network on iTunes and helping and getting assistance to launch your podcast the right way. Now, today I'm going to have a short conversation with a man who actually helped me get my podcast up and running here a number of years ago. And although I've been on radio for a number of years back in 2004, 5, and 6, it wasn't until 2014, heading into 2015, that I actually got back into the game with a microphone, similar to the microphone that you're seeing, that you're watching right here. So I wanted to do it correctly. I wanted to do it right in the sense that I didn't want to waste a lot of fucking time trying to build and understand podcasting. I had looked up a bunch of PDFs. I had watched some videos. I had watched some videos or YouTube videos, some webinars. I had studied a whole bunch on how to do it. And at the end, what I was left with was a bunch of chaos and confusion. What I really wanted to do was just get on a microphone, on the right microphone, with the right headset, and just fucking talk. I didn't know how to do that. But I did know a guy who had actually done that quite a bit. And he'd done it not only for himself, but he'd also done it for a lot of their shows that I had seen. And so I reached out to a man by the name of Wesley Chapman. In a moment, I'm going to introduce him here on this video because he's going to become your next mentor and guide here in the process. And a man who's actually been connected with me back in 2012 when we first started back with the Green Hat Day videos, backwards with the Warrior Movement, but was crucial in assisting us to get off the ground with our podcasting and help spread the Warrior message. So, with that being said, we're going to now allow you to gaze upon him quickly. Oh, there he is.
There's some sexiness.
No, just say it's too much. It's too much all at once. Too much.
That's true.
Oh, there he is again.
In small bites.
Well done. All right. So anyway, I got Wes here in studio with me, which is actually kind of fun because I don't think we've actually done a podcast together ever.
No. A lot of podcasts, but never together.
Yeah,
so.
We've done a lot of podcasts, just never in the same room. And we've never actually had you here inside of the nice Warrior podcast studio.
No, this thing is badass, man.
How you like it, really?
You did well. You followed the PDF I made well. I like it.
You
Looks great.
Gave us a lot of instructions. Literally, like, here's the fun part. Back in 2015, when we launched the Warrior on Fire, the podcast, Wes came in, literally in office for 2 days, maybe 3 days. Him and his wife, Jody, came in and helped me and at the time, Jeremy Finlay set up everything inside of our studio, from our mics to our headsets to our mixers to everything, get our show loaded up on iTunes, help us promote, took us to #1, like did all of these amazing things with us to get the Warrior on Fire podcast up. So when we came back to build a podcast studio and to bring 4 more shows to the marketplace, Warrior Week, Warrior Wealth, Date Your Wife, and Big Money Stylist, guess who we called again?
That would be me. This guy right here.
So Wes, give it to me. Why podcasting, man? How'd you even get into this entire shenanigan of speaking into microphones?
Well, just like you, I love the power of radio. That's where it really started. For me, it was Paul Harvey and the rest of the story.
Really?
Yeah. It was like...
Did you have to listen to that in high school?
No, I listened to that. I have a crazy story. I listened to that when I was actually going from home to home in my life. So it was like the one consistent thing that I always had.
You looked it up yourself?
Yeah, it was always playing. You know, I'd stayed with people who were much older.
Right.
So it was always just playing. So I had this like connection with radio. And then it was back in, 2010 when podcasting kind of was getting going and hitting the marketplace. And I was just like, this is an interesting forum. You can actually have your own radio show without having the studio and the, all the distribution. You can do it yourself. And then when I got in, I found that because you can do it yourself, there's a lot of garbage out there. And there's a lot of people who just will like grab whatever is laying around and just start talking, and probably really shouldn't be. And then quality-wise, it's just not there. So I just, being a perfectionist, was like, well, I want to try this, see what it is, but I want to do it the right way. So it was literally just getting in, diving in, and doing it. And then I got frustrated because while it was awesome that you could do it, you didn't have a distribution model. So how was anyone supposed to know about it?
Right.
So then curiosity took over. I started figuring out the algorithm, and then just loved being, #1. So.
Well, all of us love being number one, and we love being number one in the sense that was our first show went to number one, and we actually became, the one solo knife salesman at the Waterbed convention. We decided to drop the Warrior on Fire podcast down into the Christian religion category, which made sense when we launched the show. I kind of changed the format. We recently went back to the business stage with that show, but it worked, and we went to number one, took a ton of heat. It was amazing. It was enjoyable. We've now done the same thing with all of our other shows. I don't think you actually have hit, we haven't hit number one on Warrior Wealth, have we? I don't think we have.
Number 4.
Number 4 was as high as we got with that one. And what about Warrior Week?
Warrior Week got to number 2.
Number 2. Oh, dick. All right. And then
Sam called me. He was nicer.
Yeah, he was nicer. All right. And then Big Money Stylist went 1.
Still number 1.
Still number 1.
It's been number 1 for like 2 months.
Yeah, dude, it's killing it.
Yeah.
And then Date Your Wife.
Yeah, Date Your Wife is off and on number 1. It was number 1 for 4 weeks straight, and then we battle between 1, 2, and 3.
All right. So we've got 2 shows that are going. I'm obviously at Warrior Wealth, the lowest man on the totem pole. We have an interesting category inside of business because that category is like the roughest and toughest category to try to get high rankings in. This is Tim Ferriss, this is Gary Vaynerchuk. It's like every other Tony Robbins, every other big name speaker, Jocko, all the rest of the really high popular shows inside of the business topic are in there. So we actually moved Warrior on Fire over to that same category, and we're at any given time, in the top like 20 to top 30. They kind of circulate up and down and up and down. But really, we're here to have a conversation today because I want to talk a little bit about your involvement with Wes and why we've brought Wes into this particular phase in your experience as a certified trainer. If you're here watching this, it means that you are now ready to take your message to the marketplace. And to pull this off, we have to accomplish 2 things. First thing we have to accomplish is we have to clarify your message. Now, we realize that the Warrior's Way sits at the core of everything you're going to be teaching and training. Wes knows this, I know this, you know this, right? But inside of the Warrior's Way is this unique conversation that you get to have around that topic with being who you are and the place that you come from. Right now, I talk about the Warrior's Way inside of Warrior Wealth. I talk about the Warrior's Way inside of Big Money Stylist. I talk about Warrior's Way inside of Date Your Wife. And I talk about Warrior's Way inside of Warrior on Fire, which means 4 different shows that are totally different shows, but at the core are having the same conversation. Each one of them has their own unique message in the way that it's shared and also attract a unique audience to listen to. So this is part 1 of the reason for joining us inside of this game and being part of the podcast network is to clarify your message and to ultimately establish yourself in the podcasting world as a beacon. But to do this as part of a network. Now, enter stage left, Mr. Wesley Chapman. Now, we actually acquired the network from you because you had a network before that we were on.
Yep.
And that network itself is not something that's easily given out.
Right.
iTunes doesn't do it too often.
Nope.
You had a network and you sold it to us. We took that network on, and we also created an agreement with us between the acquisition of the network and the changing of the name to Warrior Empire Network that you would come on and serve and assist them in to take it forward.
Yep.
Now, you've got all that other stuff going on with the Human Podcast or Human Network and some of the things going on there. You're going to get to talk a little bit more about that and hear some of the videos that come up after today after watching this initial one. But share for just a second why even taking this on as a project for you even matters.
That's a great... It matters because we're in this phase right now with families where they're broken. I mean, I work specifically with youth. So you mentioned a Human Project. I work specifically with youth who are living in dysfunction. The chaos and the nightmare and the hell that's being created inside of, when we talk about the men and where they're going and, the concepts and the frustrations they're feeling where they may think it's solo and they may think it's just for them, it's polluting their entire family.
Right.
And it's going all the way down to their children, and their children don't know how to process it. So they're taking it out in different ways. They're hurting themselves. They feel lost. They feel alone. And when you came to me with this idea, this just goes back to my whole message, which is how do we get healthy families? How do we get people working together for the same objective, which is to have a life that's worth living, really, at the end of the day? Like all the other stuff to the side, having a life that's worth living, wanting to go home, wanting to be with your family, loving your job, loving your wife, loving your kids, all of it matters because there are so many children who are suffering and who are in pain. And when I looked at this, I said, I've always known I can't do this on my own. I mean, teen suicide is the #1 killer in this country. And that's data from 2014, and we've seen it spike ridiculously in the last couple of years. And there's a direct correlation between that spike and where men are specifically in the family, in the business, in the worlds. You know, I mean, we just look at it. And so obviously I've known your mission. I've known the Warrior Way, what you've been out there, you know, bringing out to as a belief system to people to follow and to understand and to unlock their potential. And when you came to me, I thought, you know what? This is a beautiful way for us to help get that message out there for more ears to hear, for more people to hear, and for more men to make change. And not even just the men making the change, but to be able to point young men, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, when they're saying, I don't have a role model, I have no one to look at. I can say, listen, go to this, right? Here's a tool. Here's a resource for you. It's free. I mean, that's the beauty of podcasting. It's free. So that was the first level, is this fit right in to my global mission, which is to end dysfunction in families. And then on the other side of it, I looked at it and I said, this is a very effective way to build the resources and the team and the structure and the scalability that we need to reach the billion that we want to reach on this planet. So it just was a win-win.
So we launched. And there was a total alignment with the fact that Wes and I both give a shit about serving humanity, and we care about serving people. He's going after the kids. And this has been part of his mission with the Human Project, which you're going to learn more about, and we'll include some video clips so you can get a taste for who he is and what he's up to in training inside the school systems and the events that he's put on. And inside of that package, there was this gift to be able to bring the light into the night. And Wes had a mission that was similar. We had a cause that was similar. And also he had a series of skill sets that I had already invested in. An individual who I had hired myself. And you know how I do things here at Warrior. If I don't do it and I don't pay for it, I don't tell you to do it or pay for it at all. Like, I don't tell you to do it. If someone else in the group in the Brotherhood has done it and paid for it and lived what they learned and now is leading it, they may point you to something else. But you can always count on, you've been able to count on from the very beginning, one simple thing. If I'm telling you do this, it's because I do it. So this studio and everything that you see inside of the way that we deal with it, I'm going to back the camera up, this entire studio and the way I operate was led by him. Wes was the one who taught us how to think around this, how to operate. Obviously, we had our own creativity inside of it, like you're going to have your own creativity inside of your show. But inside of it, from the computer techniques to the tactics, inside of the way that we use technology, the way that we use the microphones, the types of mics, the messaging of your origin story, which is likely one of your most important shows that you'll do. And that entire involvement is going to come through the guidance of Wesley Chapman. So the first piece is to get clear about your message. The second reason is to build a list of subscribers and followers. People that want to follow you, listen to you, participate in the game with you. This means they want to listen to your show every week. The greatest challenge you're going to run into as a certified trainer is gathering a tribe and audience. And being part of the Warrior Empire Network is going to allow us to be able to back and support you through advertising and through association of crossover brands of very popular shows. Allow people to start spilling over into your shows so they find the connection that they truly want. Inside of that place, that guy you see on camera is going to be your guide. That's the man who's going to lead you. That's the man who's going to make sure that you get your show up, that you frame your show up accurately and correctly. Also, that inside the network, that you get your show pushed into a very high ranking with the goal, obviously, to stay in the top few shows. And inside of that, also to make sure that you begin your subscriber base and your email list with a very small minimum viable game inside of a funnel. So this is not a complicated game. Here's what Wes is not. Wes is not your personal psychologist. Wes is not your therapist. Wes is not your coach in the sense like Coach Jesse or Coach Sam or myself are your coaches. He is not here to give you tactical advice on your long-term strategy and how you build your certified trainer kingdom. He's not here to tell you whether or not you should stay with your wife. He's not here to talk to you about God and how God works or doesn't work for you. Wes, although he could entertain and have all those conversations, is here for one specific thing for you. Get your show up, launch your show, and as you launch your show, do it in a way that builds a subscriber base and an email list of people who want to listen to you. Now, Wes, anything you want to add to that little preamble I just threw on that?
It was perfect. And again, it all comes down to emails. I mean, we can talk, and we will talk about the importance of the emails, but being ranked and having all of that is part of the marketing strategy, so you get recognition. But if you don't have the email, we can't turn it into a play to get people into the system. So we're going to be talking about that. You hit that right on the head. It's how do we get their email? And it doesn't matter about social media following. It doesn't matter about any of that kind of garbage. What it matters is how many emails are we getting? How are we getting people to engage with your message? So that's our number one focus of a podcast. And again, it's a medium in which there's not a lot of noise, even though there might be, a ton of podcasts. Going back to like what I said in the very, very beginning, there's very few people doing it right. There's very few people taking it seriously. There's very few people that have the consistency. And I think that's important for everyone to realize with Warrior on Fire. What are you, 700 and something episodes in?
Yeah, like 755, I think.
755 episodes. I mean, consistency. Content is king. Freaking consistency is God, and especially in podcasting. It's all about being there, showing up, all the stuff you talk about, and then getting that email address so you can communicate with that end user, and then we'll turn that communication into message spreading and profitability.
So the game is simple for you. Okay, you're going to see a series of videos, and instructions are going to come after this. Wes is going to be training you via video from the Warrior Studio. He's going to walk you through how to understand psychologically what you're doing with your show, how to get yourself prepared for your show, and also to get yourself prepared for your interview with him when he goes through all of the detailed work you've done beforehand. Just like everything we do here at Warrior, there is pre-work. Videos you're going to watch, content you're going to consume, questionnaires you're going to complete to get you clear so that when you come into the conversation with Wes, things are on point and on fire. Along with that also is going to be the guidance that you'll be able to reference back to, so you don't have to try to memorize it the first time. You can just learn what you need to learn with it, implement, go back, watch the training content with Wes, go through it again, go back and watch again the training content with Wes. At our certified trainer events, you're going to see him there. He's going to be training the men who are part of that network. And we're now getting into the stage where we have at least a handful of you now finally ready to do this, in the sense of there's about 8 or 9 of you plus our normal shows who are now in the process of doing it. And we're adding 3 to 4 of you every single month until we have a syndicate of 50 to 100 shows. And that group itself now can really start to do some damage inside of the marketing game across all kinds of different categories with each other as part of the network. So your investment is not going to some strange man who I outsource to across the sea. You're not going to some guy who's holding me hostage with a pistol to my head. I make $0 from this at all. This is not an affiliate play for me. You are getting to invest in Wes, in the system, in the process, as a requirement so that I know your fucking show is legit, so that you don't show up with a piece of shit show on a piece of shit mic and you end up delivering a content that is not valuable to the marketplace, and you make that crest that sits in the top corner of your image and the rest of the shows on the network, you make everybody else look like shit. You come in and play legit, Wes is going to make sure that you come in and play legit. We're going to do a lot of pre-filtering to make sure you're ready to actually commit to this. But understand that inside of this journey, this man right here, Wesley Chapman, is your guide. And this is the guy that's going to take you across the goal line. So anything left to kind of finish up here in just this little welcome video?
No, I think we're good, man.
All right,
hit it.
Gentlemen, time, energy,
training.
money. You know how this goes. Follow the instructions here on this page to get yourself into the first official training video as you dive into the process with Wes as he begins to take you one-on-one down through the preparation for your first conversation as well as the launch of your first show.